Yay, new Apple event where they announced nothing really new despite calling it by innovation only. There were some cool announcements, but most of it was honestly boring as hell. We're still gonna go over it. There were a couple cool things. So we can start off just by going through all the boring crap. So they talked about Apple Arcade, some new subscription for video games. No one cares. Apple TV Plus, it's a new premium TV subscription. They're going to be creating original shows. They might be good, they might not. I don't know, we'll wait to see. The pricing on that one's going to be $4.99 a month. It's pretty reasonable actually for what you're getting. If it's just going to be the shows. It's starting in November. They're going to release apparently new shows every month. We'll have to see how that goes. As for new products, first, there's a new iPad, 7th generation basic iPad. It's going to be a 10.2-inch Retina display, so a little bit bigger than the previous one. It's going to include the smart connector, so you can attach the keyboard cover. Honestly, didn't realize the base models, the old one, didn't even have that. And it will have Apple Pencil support. So this is going to be like the entry-level one, the one that most people will probably buy, and it's only $329, which I think is actually pretty reasonable for a basic iPad. Next up was the Apple Watch Series 5, which somehow was one of the more interesting points of the whole presentation, specifically because they have a new screen technology, LTPO, that allows it to be an actual watch. Always on display. Yes, the watch is now an always on display. And the way they were apparently able to achieve this is because the display can do adaptive refresh rate. So it can go all the way down to 1 hertz or 1 per second, which of course is what the clock is going to tick at the second hand. And they did actually specify that it would be 18 hours of battery life with always on display. So I don't know if that's just not using it at all, if it's literally just sitting there, whatever, we'll have to see, but it's interesting that they at least put a number on it instead of just saying all day, right? Then they announced a couple other little features like a new compass that will allow you to actually see the direction you're facing if you're in map apps, and it'll be accessible from developers, that sort of thing. And the price tag is also not too bad. And the price tag is going to be either $399 for the regular just GPS and $499 for the GPS plus cellular versions. But anyway, let's get into the iPhones, which most people are usually most interested in. So they got rid of the whole 10R, 10S, whatever naming system, and they now took the 10R and basically took the R series and just made that iPhone 11. So that's like what they are promoting, I guess, is the main regular typical iPhone, and then they converted the higher end ones to be Pro models. So you now have the iPhone 11, the iPhone 11 Pro, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. All right, so first off with the regular iPhone 11. So like before, the 11 is going to have a liquid crystal display, not OLED, and it's going to be 6.1 inches. So that will improve the battery life, but it's not going to be maybe as nice a screen. So it now has a dual camera on the back. So that's going to have a 12 megapixel wide camera and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. No telephoto. Interesting. I would have thought that people would have cared more about a telephoto lens as opposed to an ultra wide, but apparently not. I'm sure they did research for that. They also introduced some other features like wide portrait mode. So I guess with the 2 different cameras, you can do stereoscopic differences and see the actual depth actually, so you can create better portrait mode that's more accurate. And one actually interesting thing is a new night mode for the camera, which apparently uses similar to what Pixel describes on the Pixel phones, where it takes a ton of images even before you press the shutter, and then after you press the shutter, it kind of uses the different bracketed brightnesses and combines them. So it'll be very, very interesting to see if it's even close to being able to perform as well as the Pixel phones can in their night mode. And maybe I'll do a comparison somehow. For the front-facing camera, it's a slightly bigger sensor, so it's gonna be 12 megapixels. I believe it's a little bit wider. And also they introduced slow motion video for the front-facing camera. I don't know why you would need that at all, but you have it now. And the iPhone 11 is getting the new A13 Bionic chip. Apparently this has a lot more battery per efficiency and also obviously going to be more powerful. So they did say that the 11 is going to have 1 hour more battery life than even the XR had, or the 10R. So that is good that they increased the battery efficiency at least. And as for price, really not bad, $699. I definitely think that this is probably the one that most people are going to go for, and they knew that, and that's kind of why they just called it the iPhone 11. I believe the X or the 10R was so popular that they decided, all right, maybe not as many people want to spend $1,000 on a phone. So they just made this the primary one. But we still did get the so-called Pro models. So the smaller one is going to be the 5.8 inch, and that's just the Pro, and the Pro Max is 6.5 inches. and they have a new Super Retina XDR OLED. Apparently it's got an even better OLED than before, so I don't know how that's going to turn out, but apparently it's also significantly brighter, so that would be really useful, like if you're outside or something like that, hopefully. As for performance, again, this also has the A13 Bionic. Apparently it can be up to 40% more battery efficient, and they actually said that the iPhone 11 Pro will have up to 4 hours more battery life than the XS. If that's true, and of course, I really don't believe Apple's battery stats ever. It's probably not going to be up to 4 hours, but maybe a little bit more at least. If it's that much they say, it's going to be significant. Now, of course, the main new feature that they announced with the Pro models is the triple camera lens. So they kept the telephoto, they kept the regular one, they added in an ultra wide. I don't know if this is exciting. I don't ever really need a wider lens. I would wish that they added like a super duper telephoto, you know what I mean? I really wish that you could zoom in more times than I wish I could zoom out more. But regardless, that's what we get, and I don't know what they were thinking with the design. It's not just a camera bump anymore, it's literally a double camera bump. So, I don't know what they're doing. Another thing I think is really stupid is the Pro models, so-called Pro models, still have a 64 gigabyte base model for storage. So, come on, they're still cheaping out 64 gigabytes, not enough in this day and age. It's like they held on to the 32 gigabyte model for so long. Now they're like, on the Pro models, you're spending $1,000 a phone, just get it up to 128. So you go from 64 to 256, you have to spend extra $150. Now, as for the pricing, $999 base model for the 11 Pro, and an extra $100 at $1,099 for the Pro Max. So at the very least, they didn't raise the prices. I mean, honestly, this whole event was kind of underwhelming. You could probably tell there's not really anything exciting about it. Wow, new battery life, yeah, that's really significant, and I'm not even excited about the cameras. I really don't care about the cameras. I'm not really interested in getting a new Apple Watch, but if I was, then the always-on display would be cool, but I don't know. It's like, we'll see if the night mode on the camera is as good as Pixel. I highly doubt it, because Apple seems to be really far behind in that regard. Even, like, how long have they had Siri? They barely improve it. I think it's going to be mediocre. I really hope I'm wrong, but I really do. Maybe the only reason I get it is so I can make like several videos comparing like the Pixel phone's cameras and stuff like that. We'll have to see. I don't know. You guys let me know. I'm tired of talking about this stupid event. It's not even that good, so we're done.